Now, Caper, a big welcome. Welcome to the Radiothon special edition of Deli Beats. I've known you for many, many years.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's been a while.
For sure.
But, those who might not know who you are, let me pick your brain a bit before we spin some of your tracks. You were known as Colin Darcy from, your 9 to 5. When you started rapping, you became known as Caper. Why? What's behind the that name?
Yeah, so randomly one day when I decided that I was actually going to be rapping and taking it serious, I had to, come up with a legit name. So I think I had a few rhymes written or whatever. And contemplated, but when it came time to actually doing it serious, that's when I came up with Caper, and actually started with capable first.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So having the mind state like you're capable of doing anything if you put your mind to it.
Yeah.
But I thought, it could sound better as to why I've shortened it to Caper.
Yeah.
It just had a better ring to it, and I'll put an acronym to the name later, so it stands for captivate any person ever recognized. And I guess that's what I try to do as an artist. I'm trying to inspire and I'm trying to captivate audiences.
Yeah. That's really interesting, actually. I don't mind capable, actually. That's pretty good too, Yeah. So, which I know this, but which cultural group do you identify with?
So I'm a proud Narunga man. So
down York Peninsula.
York Peninsula way. Yeah.
So
Point Pierce is a home station, and I was actually born and raised in Whyalla in the country.
Okay,
in South Australia.
Yep, definitely.
But I've been back and forth a few times to home station. I haven't been back fishing as much as what I should. I've only been butter fishing there once. And the whole time when I was in the water, I was just looking out for the sharks.
Yeah. Well, that's the place for them.
It's a white pointed territory. But the last time I actually went down to Point Pierce was for work through Uni of Adelaide, just doing a health study.
Okay, yeah.
But unfortunately, other times that I've been there is just mainly for funerals.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of those.
You know how it is?
Yeah. Always heading back home for,
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, business. So.
Yeah, and I got my grandmother, who was like my second mother, is buried there. So I make sure I take the time to say hello.
Yeah, definitely. Now, you've been writing and performing as a rapper for about 20 years?
20 years,
wow.
Yeah. Going on over 20 years now. So a hell of a long time.
Yeah. Now, why did you first get into writing lyrics or, the songwriting?
Yeah, it all started just with finding an outlet and just writing poetry and turning that poetry into eventually songs, learning how to structure it by myself and learning how to write choruses just from studying the greats and listening to, people or artists that inspired me. And just being a real student, of hip-hop music and gravitating towards the importance of the lyrics and telling a story and trying to connect with people. I just started from writing poetry, and that turned into writing songs, and that turned into, gaining a passion and wanting to pursue music full-time.
Yeah, that's something that, with the story writing, it's always been a part of our culture.
It has, It's an important part of our culture,
And we're good at telling stories too,
for sure.
With a lot of your songs,
spinning yarns.
Yeah,
that's
sure.
it. We can tell a good story, and that's from just observation through family as well. Hearing them tell stories and hanging around other brothers growing up, spinning yarns and telling stories.
Yeah,
for sure.
Now I remember you saying, it's hard being a rapper, and even harder if you're a rapper and Aboriginal.
Yeah.
How about we listen to your song, Aboriginal Rapper, and then we can come back have a yarn about it.
Sounds good.
And yes, welcome back to the show. That was Caper with Aboriginal Rapper. Now, I just want to have a yarn about that track. So, what made you want to create a track?
Yeah, so I think it's been a long time coming for me, because when I first started rapping, there was no Aboriginal Rapper, the title. And I don't know, it sort of came out of nowhere. And I guess in terms of like myself, I like having full creative control in terms of marketing myself. So I market myself as my own king, and that goes back to my brand, Lionheart Nation. We're our own kings and queens, building our own empires. So when the media started labeling me Aboriginal rapper or Indigenous rapper, I'm like, man, that's a box, you guys are just placing on me. And as an artist, like a student of the game, I've always known that you shouldn't box yourself in. Like, as an artist, you should be limitless. And like I explained in the song as well, like, if you really think about it in deeper layers, it was something that was created over time here in this country in Australia, from popularity in some mainstream media and mainstream radio, and even in the sports, it's become normal. So I think as time has gone on, new rappers that are coming into the game, they've just embraced it because it is the norm. But for myself, like, I give the example in the song, to say if I went out for dinner and if my friend introduced me, it was like, hey, here's my Aboriginal friend, Colin Darcy, in front of everybody, that's going to make me feel uncomfortable. That's racist, and that's a stereotype, you know what I'm saying? So I don't feel the need, like, why, certain platforms have to introduce us before our professional title. Like, we're artists, Like, I don't hear on radio here, for instance, saying, coming up next, Caucasian rapper, da-da-da.
Yeah, exactly.
So why the need to do it with us? And I know at the same token, whoever perpetuated this to be the norm as time has gone on, probably they've done it with, a mind state where it has, open doors for artists who are Aboriginal, and I get that as well. But, at the same time, I feel like, as I referenced in the song, how come we haven't got a superstar of Aboriginal background like a Stormzy? That's international, you know? And I just feel like when you put labels and certain labels and boxes on yourself, it really creates this stigma as well. Like, early in my career as well, especially when How Would You Like to Be Me came out, people were like, oh, so you're a rapper, you're Aboriginal, so you rap about culture all the time? I'm like, no. Like, I'm a human being. Like, being Aboriginal is one part of me, But, there's, like, it doesn't define me. No. I'm super proud of being a Narungga man, and proud to be an Aboriginal person. And so with saying that, I don't let it define me, because I'm an artist, I meditate, I enjoy doing reading, I enjoy doing traveling. So there's these other aspects of me. And I don't know, I just feel like in this country in particular as well, it's a shame sometimes how... So hip-hop started from, Africa-American culture. So it's black culture originated. Often I find that, culture gets appropriated by white people. And I feel like here, Aboriginal rappers being created by white corporates to make it the norm. And I've worked over 20 years in engagement with Aboriginal people, and I know the ins and outs of government organisations, And like Maney says in the song, at the end of it, ticking a diversity box.
Yep.
I know certain platforms, they get funding, have requirements to, like say for instance for Aboriginal people to play a certain percentage on the radio to fulfill their budget requirements and their acquittals. So, but it was like, man, like I know what goes on, so why not just strip back the label, just play artists who are Aboriginal, just because of the fact that they're talented and not ticking a diversity box.
Yeah, sort of going
for sure.
more so on their merit.
For sure.
Yeah, that's it. Now we're going to listen to a audio piece here. Now, you able to introduce what we're about to listen to?
So last year, so when I was writing Aboriginal Rapper, I actually had the song recorded, and all of a sudden I saw on YouTube a great monologue by Main White, and it was on AB Show Q&A. Powerful piece of, like, in my eyes, it's poetry and it's truth. It's pain, like, for Aboriginal people. And it sort of cut me to the core, and I was like, damn, he's talking about what I'm talking about in Aboriginal Rapper. Like, towards the end of his monologue, he talks about, because he is an actor, and he talked about, maybe I don't want to be a diversity, box-ticking thing. Maybe I want to be presented roles where I'm not just the Aboriginal token or whatever, So after seeing that, I hit his manager up. I found his manager's email address, and I found the perfect part to try to sample to have at the end of Aboriginal Rapper. So, of course, I needed to get his blessings. So I sent him the song, a recording. Long story short, he approved it, and he became on the song. But, this is a powerful piece of poetry in my eyes.
And welcome back. Yeah, that was Caper there with In the South, deadly track there. Now, what would you like to say about this one?
So it's pointing out to people we got the talent here in the South, and I've had the talent. I guess through the time that I've been creating music, even in Australia, there's bias in other states. Adelaide is a long way from Sydney, from Melbourne, where the scene is more cracking, and it is a little bit more challenging for our voices to be heard. So I guess a good example to give, like I say in the song, is 10 years ago I created a song, and now it's sort of movie on Netflix. So back, it took 10 years to gain momentum, where the song it's the same song 10 years ago. But I don't know. I just find here it's definitely more challenging to establish, and it's why I've always consciously had more of an open mind to try and market myself more universal in terms of overseas. And a main reason why I went over to LA and recorded my debut album there as well, because I don't know. I find, like, myself, because I've been such an outsider as well, I don't have, like, connects with local whatever to be able to give me stepping stones, and same as other artists, to be able to come through ranks and be recognized in other states and on bigger platforms. So it's all about me, myself, creating my own leverage, and the best way that I've done that is just by putting in the work.
Yeah, that's sort of the way, you when you're first starting out, I don't like, you learn how to record, mix, master, even visually as well. Now, like you said, you've been doing this for over 30 years, 20 years? So.
20 years,
yeah.
Feels like 30.
Yeah. Now, your output is pretty impressive. 14 albums, 3 EPs, and 70 singles?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I've been building the foundation.
Yeah. And everything you've created has been self-funded. Even the artwork on your albums you've created, the videos you've created. Now, how have you managed this? Because it seems insane, like, as a fellow artist. 14 albums?
Reflecting back, I honestly don't know myself. Like, it's just taken a lot of willpower. I think in terms of myself, like, my childhood really drives me in terms of, becoming something greater. And I've always had that mentality. When I find something that I'm just so passionate about, I won't stop until, there is an absolute fork in the road where I know that I can't go any further. Yeah. For instance, my first childhood dream was to be an AFL footballer. And through all of my childhood, I worked so hard to be able to, play AFL football. Long story short, it didn't happen. Luckily, I found the passion and a new dream with music. But I think it's just, as I've done it over time as well, having the mentality was like, I've done this for so long, like, I would be cheating myself if I give up now. You never know, like, yourself as an artist, like, your next song could be the next one. And that's what I always had to tell myself, like, oh, maybe not this project, maybe the next one. This next one's going to be the one. And it doesn't, you know. And it's going through those different stages, like, of emotions, of disappointment, like, I've gone through depression, because when you spend so much time doing something, you want it to be appreciated. And when it's not, it really kills your spirit to even maybe want to do a next project. So I think it's just being very conscious of myself, and I've had to be my own coach, my own motivator, my own cheerleader. I think a big thing that's helped me is studying artists that have been in the same boat as well, that have done it independent but have, had a struggle but have overcome that eventually through time and persistence and creating good art. It's just sheer willpower, and probably the last 7 years I've been doing a lot of reading and just coming across the right books to give me more inspiration and motivation to keep going.
Because I remember bumping into you down Semaphore, and and we were just chatting, and all of a sudden, like, I think I told you about something, and you were like, "Hey, why don't you read this book?" You know? I was like, I'll check it out. So
it's really I find it really helpful, and even just building, like, myself growing as a person, it's helped, and it helps me discover a lot about myself, as well as, like, the writing process in music. But hate to sound cliche, but like they say, the knowledge is power. For sure.
Yeah, it sure is. Now, I just want to mention that you've got your own label called Lionheart Nation. Now, where does the name come from? That?
So I'm wearing the Lionheart Nation hat at the moment, so cool. I'll break it down. So when I had the idea, I actually drew this picture on a piece of paper. I can't draw too well, so it was pretty, amateur. So I drew a line. So I created a triangle that represents where I'm from. So I'm from the Iron Triangle region, which is made up of Whyalla, Port Augusta, and Port Pirie.
Okay,
And in the middle is a lion. So that represents the music, which is full of heart and soul. And of course, I want my messages, to be heard by a nation of people. So, like, I added the nations. So, so the triangle represents the Iron Triangle region where I'm from. The lion represents the music that's full of heart and soul, and nation represents trying to reach a nation of people through my messages. And we are the kings and queens, you know, building our own empires in whatever, you know. You could take it as like a self-belief system, you know. There might be people out there doing whatever type of business, or there might be other artists.
Yeah.
But it's just believing in yourself that you can build your own empire. And that's what I've been trying to do independent as an artist.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, when I first saw it, I was like, man, that looks cool. I was like,
Yeah.
if I started out with that little drawing you did, you know.
Yeah.
Look, it came out pretty good.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's just me, like I'm such a hip-hop nerd. Branding is such an important thing of, you know, being an artist from what I've studied. And I've even got my own, you know, like little visual that plays before all of my video clips. So just making sure the whole brand is there and visible, and getting the chance, like, for instance, tonight to explain it in depth, to get it out to more people.
Yeah.
And maybe they could identify, you know, maybe they're on their own hustle and grind and trying to instill faith through this belief system that they can do it.
Yeah.
For sure.
Definitely. Now, I just want to have just a quick yarn with you about the value of community radio and how important that was or is for you. And, you know.
Super important. Like, I have never, well, I've rarely gotten commercial airplay. Like, it's all been supported through community radio.
Yeah.
And I think in terms of knowing that community radio actually picks up your music, I think they're more invested in the artist, you know. Whereas commercial radio trends come and go, and there's the next new superstar. Whereas community radio, you know, like if you're supported, I find like they're more genuine.
Yeah, because I noticed a lot of like artists come through Radio Adelaide, and you know, you're one of the sort of the pioneers.
Yeah,
come through. You know, through
times,
not just Deadly Beats, but also, you know, back in the day through Nungawonga, which is on Monday nights
for sure.
But even if, like, I just want to swing back to the radiothon that we've got on now, and, you know, how people can support artists to, you know, for us to continue that support. You know, they can go to the Radio Adelaide website, and there's a few things you can do in, like, subscriptions. They've got a lot of other things happening too, like tickets to the quiz night and movie screening. And I think it goes to, so it started on the 28th and it's going to the 4th of November. You can donate and go into the draw to win some great prizes, and pick up the subscription pack here from Radio Adelaide. Just head to the Radio Adelaide website at radioadelaide.org.au and click on the Radiothon section, and you can go and check out all the different things you can donate to and subscribe to. And we currently have $3,500 raised within the second day. So that's pretty good.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. So hopefully we can bump that up tonight. And,
need more.
Yeah, we'll do a special date night for a caper to go on a date with one of them. Nah, all good. But yes, so I just want to sort of come back to you now. And so between June 2020 and June 2021, you created and released 5 albums. Which is insane.
Crazy.
Yeah, crazy. So how did you do that? Because, I don't know, that...
Pure determination in creating a routine. I consciously... like, my stomach told me it was time to, at time to quit my full-time 9-to-5 job. And that was solely because, creating projects in the past, it'll always be trying to find time to create music when I'm not tired from working a 9-to-5 or on weekends.
Yeah.
So when COVID hit, I was working from home, and my stomach just told me, like, it's now or never in terms of, like, one, allowing myself the time to get better as a rapper, a songwriter, skill-wise, flow-wise, in all type of areas. And in order to do that, I needed time. I needed a schedule. So I threw in my 9-to-5 job. I took out some of my superannuation money to up my studio equipment.
Yeah.
My girl was amazingly supportive.
Yeah.
She built me a home recording studio from scratch,
Wow.
a booth, and then I soundproofed it and created the first album, which was Love Part 1 and Love Part 2. And I had themes for the first, it was only going to be love.
Okay, yeah.
But I created like 30-something songs.
Oh, wow.
And I'm
Wow.
like, this has got to be Love Part 1 or Love Part 2. Because I just hit a great creative spirit, and that's what happens sometimes if you put yourself in a situation where you allow yourself to embrace creativity. I read a great book called Big Magic. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say the author, Elizabeth Gilbert.
Yep.
When I was on holiday in New Zealand going back a few years ago, and it totally changed my mind state of creativity. So going into creation every time now is like not overthinking it and letting, like, putting together whatever beat like I've got and letting the beat talk to me and just go with whatever comes. Ultimately, I like to write the chorus first and then go from there. But it's just putting myself in that position where I can be open to creativity to come, and allowing myself to be in a situation where I wasn't creating under fatigue. And I think it's important because at the same time, I want to be successful. I want to, I want to be able to make money and pay bills, which is what I had to do working a 9-to-5 job. But then doing something else on top of that, sometimes your mental health comes into play.
Yeah.
And that was the main reason as well to, just focus on one thing, and the thing that I love, which is creating music. So I set myself, my schedule was like a job. Wake up, start at 9 o'clock in the morning, have a morning tea break, have a lunch break, afternoon tea break, and finish at 5. And sometimes it wasn't that, sometimes I'll be creating all through the weekend, at random times at nighttime, because inspiration just kept coming to me.
Yeah.
And I had to embrace it while I could.
When it hits, you got to move on it, don't you?
Yeah. And I guess coming to the realization that, I'd been doing it for, like, at the time, 19 years. And like I said, it's now or never. Like, I'm reaching up to, age 40, and which in my situation is a blessing because, I've got my mother and my brother passed of heart disease from young ages. Yep. So coming to realize as a student of hip-hop as well, it's always been a young man's sport. But as time has continued, like the Jay-Z's, the Eminems have proved that wrong because they're still going quite strong.
Yeah. They're seen as the sort of the leaders in the...
For sure.
The industry.
Yeah.
Now, there's another song we need to talk about, which got a lot of reaction when you first released it. Now, that's that track, How Would You Like to Be Me? Now, can you go back to around when you released it and tell us about what happened?
So 2013, I wrote the song, and I'd experienced racism and discrimination ever since I was a kid, in high school. And it got to a situation where, like, I was out on a night in the town with a friend, and it was early hours in the morning. We're in a pizza bar, and I overheard a conversation, people talking about Aboriginal people in a negative way, and it pissed me off. Like, it really got to me, and I just hit my threshold, like, as a artist, I don't like to force, messages or whatever unless I absolutely feel it. And it got to me to the point where I had to now tell my stories of racism through my lifetime. So the very next day, I wrote, "How Would You Like to Be Me?" And I wrote about the different situations, from being rejected from a nightclub for being Aboriginal, and the bouncer actually saying to me, to my face, that I couldn't be allowed let in because I was Aboriginal.
Yeah.
And racial discrimination in a taxi ride, and the way, sometimes, because, like, even casual racism is such a huge issue, it's such the norm. People don't realize that they're being racist,
Because there's so many degrees of it, isn't there?
There is, yeah. So it was capturing those stories and putting a message to make people think, how would you like to be me? How would you like to be in my position, treated like this?
Yep. Yeah.
It hurts because, especially, like, if you're proud of, your culture and your background, it hurts even more.
Yeah.
And it makes you feel like you're not welcomed, in this country. We're the traditional owners, of this land.
Yeah.
And to be told by somebody that, you are this, you are that, it really is degrading. That makes you feel like, man, they really feel like we don't belong here. So I was trying to put a message to people, like, how would you like to be treated like this? It is not nice, and it's flipping the script and letting people see in the mirror, like, through the stories that I told, like, this is what you do to us, this is how you affect us.
Yeah. So, let's check this track out, and we'll see you on the other side.
How would you like to be me? To be me.
Yeah, Adelaide. Ready? I love it. I do. I love it. But, yeah.
So that was the explicit version.
Yeah.
So to take you guys back to 2013, back then as well, like, I was even more obsessive, like, in terms of my recording process. I memorized those lyrics and just rapped it all the way through. So after I recorded that version, my engineer that recorded me at the time, he was like, dude, you need to create a version where there's no curse words so it can be played on radio. So I did that, and that's actually the first time I've heard the explicit version played on radio. But but that goes to show, like, I was that angry in terms of the situation. I put curse words in there, but I'm glad I was convinced to do a milder version just so it can be heard by more people. So when I actually recorded the song, I then needed I hadn't done a professional video yet. I had done one for a song called Scarred Memories that I shot back in my hometown, Whyalla, and here in Adelaide as well, but something that was really top-notch. And the EP that How Would You Like to Be me is on was called Believe EP, and I knew I had to create like a top-notch quality looking video to promote it.
Yeah.
So a friend of mine, Shalom, shout out to Shalom, she introduced me to Richard Coburn, who works at a top-notch studio here in Adelaide, and approached him with the song, and I didn't have a budget. I asked him if he could shoot the video for the song, and out of the goodness of his heart, he did it for free.
Wow.
So we did it over a period of like a few different weeks, and I shot it around here in Adelaide in some side streets. And we went into it with we could have did the reenacting the situations and be obvious, but we chose not to do that.
Yep.
And because of time constraints and stuff like that as well.
Yep.
So once the video was done, I put it out, and literally a few minutes later, somebody didn't like it, and they made a complaint to Facebook and got taken off of Facebook. It got banned.
Yeah. Wow.
I tried to click on the link and it wouldn't play. It was like, this is can't remember the exact words, but yeah, it came up with a message saying that this is banned and for such and such reasons. If you want to contest this, you can, and which I did, of course.
Yep.
Because like I worked so hard with the video,
Yep.
and for it not to be put on Facebook, because at the time that was my only platform for promotion, as well as YouTube, of course.
Yep.
So I'm like scratching my head, like, what now? Like my video can't be seen, and I'm like, damn, these barriers keep coming.
Yeah.
Yeah. But luckily enough, shortly after, I got support from people that put positive messages, and trying to point out to Facebook that this is an important message and it needs to be heard, and that the video, there's nothing wrong with it.
Yep.
And I wouldn't have put it out if there was something wrong or offensive. But I guess whoever made that complaint to Facebook maybe would have been a trigger to them. It would have been somebody maybe who was racist and just didn't want to hear that truth and didn't want to see that type of art come out.
Because the truth.
Yeah. It does. And the great thing now, though, like 10 years later, it's placed in a movie that's on Netflix called A Second Chance Rivals. So the message has now gone international. It's allowed, being on the Netflix platform, it's allowed for the message to get across to a lot of different people, different nationalities, and the message just keeps spreading, and which is beautiful. I find the song still has a lot more potential, and it's just, I guess, what is that terminology? The tortoise and the hare, the race,
Yeah.
It's slow at the marks.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
it's getting there.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
Now, another track with similar sentiments might be Deprived. Now, what's this track about?
Yeah, so Deprived is on Love Part 1, and I went to LA and recorded my debut album Pursuit of Happiness in when was it exactly? I think it was 2017, something like that. So my second trip to LA, I went for about a month, and I went and visited New York for the first time, and Vegas. And I find, like, especially in LA, when I've traveled in different countries, people don't know I'm Aboriginal. I feel more at home in other countries than here in Australia, because, I could line up at a cafe and not be given a rude look, whereas the person right in front of me, just got the smiley face and treated nice and this and that. And, people talk and treat me with respect.
Yeah.
It's not looking down on me through a microscope and as a stereotype.
Yeah.
And because I'm not just saying this because that's being paranoid. Like, I know, like, I've dealt with racism and casual racism since a young kid, and we can feel that energy when it's in front of us. So the song "Deprived" came about after my second trip, and it wasn't until, like, of course, you know, during COVID, recording Love Part 1, the story came back to me. Again, like, inspired when I played the beat, that made me write from a perspective like I was at a cafe in Hollywood. I'm treated super nice, so I fit in more here. Whereas in my own country, I feel deprived, you know, like as like just a human being, you know, in terms of deprived of respect, deprived of love, deprived of decency. But also within the song, I talk about, I guess, my time as an artist. Like, in my own city, I'm deprived of respect of being an artist. I'm deprived of love and being embraced compared to, you know, I guess other people that have come through the scenes. And it really makes me think that going internationally and going overseas has done me a lot of good in terms of, you know, wanting to branch out and not being, I guess, bogged down from being deprived in my own city. Like, acknowledging that it's there. But I thought it was an important story for me to tell. And when I was thinking about the concept, you know, I reflected back. I read a book by Stan Grant, and he was talking in a chapter where when he used to work for, I forget what company, but it was in America, and how he felt better, more embrace, more love every time he would travel the country and cover news stories. But back in his hometown, he was deprived of those things, and I related to it so much. So this song is about being deprived of love and respect in your own country.
And welcome back. That was Deprived by Caper, and you're listening to Deadly Beats here on Radio Adelaide 101.5 FM, online and digital. And yes, we've got the Deadly Caper in the house tonight. How you going?
Yeah, feeling good.
Now, on a brighter note, the song Come to Pass had a very different response to How Would You Like to Be Me. Now, what's been the response to Come to Pass?
Yeah, Come to Pass. Again, it was another slow one out the gate. And it wasn't until, like, putting my own resources into market it, to get it to certain platforms, to being, you know, I guess the new radio these days is Spotify. And I knew the importance of, like, investing your own money into be able to get it in front of people, and I just found a good way through a company to do that. And once I did it, like, literally, I think I only had on my Spotify maybe 30 monthly listeners. And the song got picked up by a huge playlist, and it was a workout playlist. And I was surprised because, well, the song is very heavy in bass. It's quite nice to listen to. It's pretty chill, but it got picked up on this playlist, and ever since it's been picked up by more. Like, it's just been like a ripple effect. And people have been going to the video on YouTube to leave comments saying that I love this song. I've got it on repeat. And it's just something now that's growing organically. And I went from, like, maybe 30 monthly listeners up to 15,000 monthly listeners. And now everybody, I guess, from that song, like I've got other listeners, you know, like tuning into the rest of my catalog. And what you find, like the hardest thing now for an artist is getting into these algorithms.
Yep.
And I think, you know, like however they're set up, once more people are streaming your music, it comes up on different playlists, you know, like it's got Spotify,
Yep.
like radio. And I was just fortunate enough, and I think it's because I've got such a huge catalog now, Spotify has created my own playlist. This is Caper.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, damn, that's crazy. Because,
That's cool.
yeah, like, you know, sometimes I go to artists and just listen to this is J. Cole or this is Kendrick Lamar or whatever. So, yeah, I was happy to see that. But the song Come to Pass is about a breakup and a messy relationship that I moved on from.
Yep.
It was toxic. And it happened a long time ago, but again, like this beat triggered and inspired me to write about this story.
Yeah.
And I just can't believe in terms of like the response that people have given.
Yep. All good. So I think we'll head to this track, Come to Pass. Well, is it a bit of a track we need to warn people about?
Yeah, so there's some explicit words, so there's a language warning. So I hope you guys enjoy it.
Yes, and please, if you've got Spotify, please get Caper on there.
This is
Adam,
Caper.
Adam to Spotify, folks. I'm going to do it while the song plays. And welcome back to the show, folks. That was Come to Pass by Caper. And I've still got him here in the studio with Big Sexy here on Deadly Beats on Radio Adelaide. And we still need some people to give us a call or even head to the Radio Adelaide website and help us out with the radiothon that's on at the moment. It's going from the 28th of October to the 4th of November. So you can head to the Radio Adelaide website at radioadelaide.org.au and click on the radiothon tab at the top of the page and go check it out. We've got I think it was 3,500 at the moment, so hopefully we can get numbers up. So please come and help us out with some help Radio Adelaide get a bit bigger and so we can continue to support artists such as the brother man here, Caper. So,
Got to make it rain in here.
yeah, make it rain. Just that money.
Make the thunder rain.
That's it. Now, can I ask you about what you've created that's more of a softer and mushy about your life?
Yeah, I think as I've gotten older, like I've been more open to tell stories about my relationships in life, whereas in the past I've been more personal with that stuff. I consciously made the decision to not do that. And I think it got to a point where I just couldn't suppress expressing those type of stories and emotions. And like I go back to saying, like when I put myself in a situation for inspiration to just come, I think it's been my process, and it's the way I've sort of programmed my mind to be in terms of a creative. It's embracing whatever comes and just expressing because it's truth,
Yep.
And I've always been that type of artist. I've always been a reflective artist. I've always told my narrative in an honest way. And it's funny because, like, when I was a fan growing up and listening to hip-hop, I hated those type of mushy songs.
Yeah.
And I think that's what, embedded in my mind because, like, I grew up studying, Tupac and Eminem, NWA, Public Enemy. A lot of there were maybe a few times that those artists have created those type of songs, but
But
the
they were
majority of it was hardcore.
never known for doing the sort of the slow jams. Or,
Yeah, for sure. I think more so is just being influenced by Notorious B.I.G. as well. He had them good slow jams. And I think just being open-minded to discovering new music as well. Like I listen to music outside of hip-hop and some I guess songs that I do come across, some are, mushy, and I guess it just opens my mind up. And I respect somebody that can tell something. I find like relationships so personal. I respect an artist that could go that deep.
Yeah.
Whereas me, like, it was always solely coming in and just expressing about, adversity and childhood trauma, and because that's, the artist, type of artist I grew up on, like Park, he always spoke about his story with his trauma, with his family upbringing, racial issues, and same with Eminem, in terms of like him having to try to fit in as a rapper who's white in hip hop, and great storytellers as well.
Yeah.
So I think it's just come with age.
Yeah.
Maturity.
Yeah, and then I know maybe 10 years ago or however long ago, it was a different time, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. Music was, for sure. I think you'll find a lot of artists these days that do, talk. It was about, mushy relationship stuff, whereas even in media, radio blogs would even, cast a negative softness on that. And I think that was part of why, maybe I was a bit standoffish creating that type of content. But it comes flooding out of me these days. It comes flooding out.
And it's probably an area where, you had this area you tapped right into from the get-go, and now you've got another one that you can, come through.
Yeah, and so my one of my best friends, he says they're the best type of songs I write, and maybe there's truth in that.
Yeah. Definitely. Well, now we've got 2 tracks.
Yep.
We've got Happy Birthday to kick it off. Did you want to tell me a little bit about this one?
Happy Birthday is on my latest album, Don't Worry, and there's a little bit of a story behind it. It was one of the final songs that I recorded for the album, and I actually had, I'm still recovering from some knee surgery. So I recorded the song 2 days after I had some knee surgery.
Okay.
And so again, like I didn't let, I was still recovering. I had the ice pack on my thing and I was still writing, getting up and recording. So my girl's birthday was a few weeks ago. And obviously I couldn't go out with it. Like, she took the day off of work. And I would have liked to spend some time. Like, she planned a bit of time in the city to see some galleries and stuff. So I'm like, I should, maybe pull up a beat and see if I can get inspired to write like a birthday present song to her. Yeah, so literally I put together the beat. So my process now, like I buy beats from producers and I've got like a lot in the can that hasn't even been put together. So I quickly put it together, boom. Started writing. She was texting me throughout. I'm like, how's your day going? And she was like, yeah, it's cool, da-da-da. So I was putting those into the song.
Oh, yeah.
Literally, she came back like three hours later, the song was done. Like, it was written, recorded, boom. And I played it to her when she came in, and she was like, yeah. Happy birthday.
Well, I can't wait to hear this, actually.
Yeah.
So, yes, this is Happy Birthday by Caper.
Kings and queens.
And welcome back to the show, folks. That was Caper with Man's Best Friend, and also his track just before that was Happy Birthday. And can you tell us a little bit about Man's Best Friend?
Yeah, so Man's Best Friend is on Don't Worry as well, the latest album. And so pretty much over, the time where I've been recording full-time at home, and even prior to that, my girl's dog called Jakey has become very attached to me.
Yeah? Wow.
He has watched my every move. He's always by my side, like I say in the song, and he's such a cute little dog. I love him to bits. And unfortunately, like my partner, she's she's always commenting to me, it was like, "You stolen him from me," because he's always, following me around. But yeah, that as soon as I play that, put that beat together, I don't know, it sort of had this cuteness about it, and the words just came out.
Yep.
And I started talking about the experience of, me recording at home and him being by my side and him seeing me at my best and my worst. So it has been a really lonely journey for me, doing everything at home, and like I've gone through so many different emotions, and he's seen all of that, and when I've felt down, I could just look over to him, his cuteness, and it makes me feel, in a good mood again.
Yeah.
Man's best friend.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's cool. Now, we're getting a little bit personal.
Yeah.
So what's your take on relationships?
My take on relationships?
Yeah.
So break it down a bit more.
Well,
so relationships in general, or
because of that song that's coming up next.
Yeah. Okay, I see where you're going with this. So I mean, relationships are always tricky, and I guess my experience over my time, like I've had periods of my life where I've consciously been single for a long time, and I guess parts of my life where I have wanted to find the right partner, and it's a jungle out there in terms of like the dating world. I've actually got
like cougars and stuff out there.
No, it's tough. Like especially like these days with the dating apps, in terms of the accessibility and the always, not being satisfied, and people set their standards too high. And what I've noticed, like in my experience in my dating time, is a lot of women that I came across, like they would have these unrealistic expectations on what they wanted from a man. And, I consider myself a high value guy, and a very confident person. But obviously, situations where I feel that something could have maybe bubbled up didn't. And, sometimes when you want something to go further, it mightn't be like... And that goes back to like, the dating world that's been created with like the swiping left and right. I mean, it is a good thing. You can find a right partner, but at the same time, it becomes like a drug. And it's like, well, what about the next person? What about the next person? Yeah. So I created a song on the album Don't Worry, and I called it She, and it tells a story about a girl that, has high standards, everybody has ego, but has a high ego. I've dated women that have had like out of control egos. And so it tells a story about, a girl that's very indecisive. She wants this, but she is very indecisive at the same time. And a lot of times games are played, unfortunately, mind games, and that gets tiring. So I tell this story about a girl that, is in her 20s. She's playing games. She's got high standards. She just wants to be single, but sometimes she doesn't. But then she comes into her 30s, and then she all of a sudden is tired of dating F-boys, people that just use her as toys, and want something more serious. But come to find out, like, high-value guys are either taken or, maybe want to date women that are younger in their 20s or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's, like I said, it's a jungle out there. And, men like myself, like I've always had, just in terms of what I look for in a woman, it's just simple things, like I love to cook. Can you cook? Are you a confident woman? Are you intelligent? And do you not talk too much? Because sometimes when we come home, we just want to chill.
That's right,
and but every individual has their own taste, and so me telling a story about this again, like when I put the beat together, it just came, and I always send some songs to one of my best friends to get some feedback, and the feedback he gave me back on this, he was like, "Man, them verses like really, spoke to me." And I think if a lot of other males heard this, it might speak to them.
Yep, definitely. So we'll check out She by Caper. And welcome back to the show. This is Deadly Beats with Big Sexy. And also joining me is a deadly hip-hop artist, rapper, Caper.
Yeah.
It's been good having you on the show, brother.
Yeah, appreciate it.
It's my first live show back in a couple of years. So
Crazy.
We're doing a big
great job. Great job.
Now, as before you mentioned about how much you love LA, and how many times? It was 4 times you've been there already?
Yeah, I've been back 4 times. If I could, like, I literally would move there.
Yeah.
So it's my favorite place to travel.
Yeah. So how did that come about? How was you able to get yourself over there?
Yeah, so going to LA the first time, so the story with my debut album, my engineer that I was working with at the time, he moved over there to work in a scholarship. And I said, like, how would you feel about me coming to record the debut album there, like, for me as a new experience? And he was like, hell yeah, do it. So I had to take it upon myself, of course, to fund it. So, I've always been, like, a believer if I do that, if I find the money. Like, I had to, do sacrifices and take out, some personal finance to get me over, and hoping that, eventually it'll pay off. Yep. So I did that the first time. I went over a second time. When I went the first time, I was hooked by the energy, like, instantly. Yep. Like, creativity, art is everywhere, and it's electric. And it sort of just grabbed a hold of me, and it made me feel alive. Whereas here, like, no diss to, where I'm here in Adelaide, but, like, it's everywhere, and it just makes me feel like I belong. And it's motivating, and there's like-minded people. Yep. Sometimes when I have conversations, even with friends, they can't connect to me because I've got so much passion in terms of, wanting to be successful and ambition. Over in LA, it's full of people. People move there, go there for that. And it's just, people are just very relatable to me. So I went there a second time for a month. I went back a third time. So
it's good.
Yeah, so the third time I actually went back, my trip was funded through money I made through How Would You Like to Be Me?
Yeah, you kind of skimmed over that really
Yeah, I
quickly before
did.
and mentioned Netflix.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I'll give you the full scope. So How Would You Like to Be Me is placed in a movie called A Second Chance Rivals, which is about gymnastics. And it was shot in South Australia, and the film company is a company here in Adelaide. And the way that opportunity came about, I shot a video for a song called Opportunity in a studio
I remember
here.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
And
I like that. I like that video.
it's a cool video.
Yeah. We'll put it up on Facebook.
Yeah, you guys can check it out. But yeah, I shot that video in a studio, and the guy that owned that, he come up to me afterwards, and he was like, "Man, I like the song. You know, it's cool." And he was like, "You know, keep doing your thing." Come to find out, you know, a few years later, I get an email from him. He tells me he's been shooting movies. He's got an opportunity for me to actually be a part of it. And he said, you know, I'd like to meet up. We'll grab a coffee. So we did. And he gave me a brief bit of information in the email, but when we caught up, he said, you know, your song Opportunity, I really like it. It has a good message. And I'm shooting a movie about gymnastics at the moment, and it's a franchise. So there's, I think, 2 others.
Okay, yeah.
And I think the second one got on Netflix as well.
Cool.
So he said, look, I'm shooting this movie. I've got a distribution deal with a company in LA, so it's going to be on Netflix again. I would like to see whether if you could try and rewrite your song, like a section of my song Opportunity, like a recomposition for a section in my movie. And I'm like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I'm up for the challenge.
Yeah.
So he said, I want you to read the script to get familiar. So I did that. So I had to, you know, like do my research. I had to read and then figure out like different words that were in certain sections to change.
Yep.
And the words that I wrote, one of the main actors was going to rap it out.
Okay.
So singing that.
All right.
And they used the beat but created their own little kiddie version of Opportunity.
Okay.
So when you hear it in the movie, so he said, you know, like if you do that, I can pay you such and such.
Yeah.
So what he paid me, you know, funded my trip over to LA for the 3rd time. But to give more depth as well, I did that. He loved the work that I did for Opportunity. And he said to me at the time that he was thinking if there was money left over in his budget to use How Would You Like to Be Me?
Okay.
Because he loved the song.
Yeah.
And this guy's not Aboriginal, like he's a white dude.
Yep.
He said like the message is just so powerful.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
damn, that's crazy, you know? To be like to have a song that's about black issues embraced by a non-Aboriginal person.
Yep.
So it came time to like wrapping up the movie, and I was like, man, my trip to LA is coming up. I'm hoping like this other opportunity is going to come through. So it did. He came through. He had some money left over in his budget. How Would You Like to Be Me? When the credits roll, boom.
Oh, wow.
It pops up.
Yeah.
And that's how that came about. So like just out of the kindness, I guess, of him, like giving me the opportunity, like he's a local producer, filmmaker. He's got his own company. That's way of him, I guess, a way of him giving back. And in terms of, you know, having opportunities like that, that's the only opportunity I've ever, you know, come to me in a really genuine type of way. But I had to do some work to earn that. You know, I had to be professional and do my thing. But I owe that to putting in work and karma, good karma coming back. So what I put out eventually has came back
Yep.
in some sort of form. And my proudest moment in terms of my career as an artist was going to the movies, huge screen, and seeing my recomposition in this whole big bloody musical thing that's, you know, like in a dance routine, and it's like a whole kitty singing. I'm like, damn, that's crazy. That's something I wrote, and she's, you know, singing it back, and they're all dancing to it. But then when How Would You Like to Be Me pops on the credits and hearing it through the big speakers, and I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
And
It's
that
surreal for you.
and that's, you know, like the best type of feeling, as well as like hearing your art being played on radio, like having, you know, something like that you put so much into on a big platform. It's enriching. So yeah, that allowed me to go to LA for the third time. And I've always whatever money I've made off of music, small amounts I've always put back into music. So obviously it's funded, you know, my projects.
Yeah. Wow. Well, thanks for enlightening us on that. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
That's cool.
Easy.
But we might go to some more music.
Yep.
Did you want to give this I'll Be Doing Me?
Yeah. So this is a song off of Jump Off. That was my 5th album, and the song is pretty much self-explanatory. I'll be doing me. I'm going to do my own thing, and I always have. And in today's world, especially in hip-hop, like just on social media, you know, people sacrifice their integrity doing dumb things just to get some clicks, just to get a viral video. Yep. And I've always told myself I'm not going to give people that. You know, I'm going to, not to be, you know, super serious as an artist or whatever, but I'm not going to step outside of my character just to gain some good looks. And I talk about through the song, you can do this, you can act out, or you can be doing that, but I'm going to do this. I'll be doing me.
Definitely. So here is I'll Be Doing Me by Caper, and this has got a language warning on this one?
This has got a language warning.
And yes, welcome back to the show. That was Caper with Flowers. And Caper's sitting here with me. Still in the studio with me. Yeah, so it's been a pretty good show.
It's been a good chat.
Yeah, so I just want to ask, where can we get your tracks from? Cause
absolutely. So my tracks are all on major platforms. The main one that people go to, obviously, is Spotify. I don't know if people download music these days on Apple, iTunes. But a central location, I created my own website as well, www.caper.net.au. And I'm off social media at the moment, but I've still got pages that people can add me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. It's at Official Caper, so CAPER.
Yes, and make sure you go check him out on Spotify. I just followed him, so you get another follow there.
One more fan.
And how can people keep up? Like, just go to your.
Yeah, I think my main traction, I guess, of releasing is on YouTube. So. If people subscribe, you get a notification every time I drop something, and that's what I consistently have to keep doing, is putting out content to get into these algorithms. So subscribe to the YouTube channel, and that is Caper.
Awesome. So just before we go, we got a bit more on this radiothon we've got going at the moment from the 28th of October to the 4th of November. Please head to the Radio Adelaide website at radioadelaide.org.au and check out the radiothon section, and you can have a look at some of the things you can support us with. We've got the major prize draws, which is some of them as 1 out of 10 double passes to see the Jezebels in Adelaide for their Prisoner 10-year anniversary tour. You can also get a bottle of Adelaide or Shiraz gin from Adelaide Distilling Company. Yeah. Wow.
Nice. Gin.
I don't mind. Yeah, I don't mind.
Yeah, I don't mind a gin.
But they've also got quiz night at the Rumpus and Halloween screening at Palace Nova. So please go check that out. And also they've got the subscribers pack. So yes, I think it might be about that time soon. But we've also got the annual subscriptions also here for Radio Adelaide. $80 for regular, or you can subscribe as a concession holder for $45, which is pretty much close to 50% off there.
Nice.
Yeah, nice. But if you don't like going on the internet or anything, you can also give us a call at 7132-5000, which is 7132-5000, and we'll get you all sorted. But yes, I think it is about that time we have to leave everyone, Caper. But
thank you for having me.
Yeah, that's all good.
Yeah, it's been a good yarn.
Yeah, it has. But thank you to all of our listeners. Thank you to Caper, of course. Thank you to the Community Broadcasting Foundation, Radio Adelaide. Also, thank you to the National Indigenous Radio Service, the Karma Network, Koori Radio, Radio Mama, and the Community Radio Network. A thank you to all that joined us tonight, and we hope you have a great week ahead of you. Stay tuned. We've got a few more tracks. I've got a track here. It's called Take Me Away by none other than Caper. Do you want to say a little bit about this?
So this is about, obviously being locked down in the pandemic and wanting to travel again.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people will be able to relate to this. So I think next month the gates are open to international, so I may be jet setting some.
Over to Adelaide, eh?
Maybe.
Might be. Yeah,
Maybe.
definitely.
Yeah.
It's been deadly having you on the show.
Yeah,
and,
thank you for having me, bro.
Yeah, all good,
Appreciate
anytime. But, it's me, Big Sexy, for Deadly Beats. But until next time, much love, much peace, and please take care of yourselves and each other. Peace out, my peoples. Nagara.
Switch it all up. I need to do something.